Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa and today I am doing the book monster challenge for the Monsterathon. I will be linking a video with all the details for this challenge below, but basically the challenge is to create a monster out of a book or books. And most of the people who are doing this challenge are making them out of actual books and are stacking them in cool ways and giving them eyes and tongues and things made out of paper. And I was thinking as I was watching Kate's video about how could I do this without totally destroying my bookshelf arrangement, which I worked very hard on and I'm very attached to. But all my prettiest books are up there on my shelves, all arranged neatly, and I do have extra books besides those, but they either don't fit in with my color schemes or just aren't that pretty. So if I was going to make a monster out of physical books, I would want to use the ones all organized on my shelves. But then at the end of the video, Kate said that you could also draw a book monster if you really wanted to. And I was like, I really want to, because that happens to be a really good crossover because this is also an art channel. And so that is how the idea for this piece was born. I decided that I wanted my book monster to have tentacles, and I wanted it to be a single book that would have big paper tentacles coming out of it. Paper tentacles that were probably too big to normally fit in the book, but it's a magical book monster, so like it doesn't have to obey the laws of physics. So there is a little book in the middle that at some point you'll see me put a red cover on, and it has got and it is facing you open, and it has these tentacles coming out of it that are made of paper. And the way I designed these tentacles is that they are supposed to be like Chinese yo-yos, which are these rolls of paper that when you flick them out, they turn into spears of wound paper that you can poke your siblings with. At least that's what I did with them when I was a kid. And so these tentacles are less stiff than those yo-yos, of course, and they can move on their own. And so it's kind of like this book has been opened by someone, and then it has floated upwards, and a bunch of tentacles have exploded out, and they're gonna eat somebody. They're gonna eat the person that opened it or somebody else, and drag them back in and eat them. Which was also partially inspired because I have the Sorcery of Thorns book running around in my head, and people said that the grimoires in it eat people. I haven't read it, I don't know how accurate that is, but that idea of books eating people is definitely in my brain and definitely came out in this piece. So I started this piece with the background smudging around a lot of dark, creepy colors. I've noticed that along with black and orange, purple and green are also used a lot in Halloween decor. So I decided to have blue, purple, and a little bit of green intermixed with black to have kind of like miasma type darkness floating around this magical book monster. I did pretty much no sketching beforehand, so that's why the tentacles are a bit haphazard. But once I outlined the tentacles with some paint, I went back and narrowed in with the splotchy background watercolors and made them closer in. I think that worked pretty well. I was worried that the splotchy effect wouldn't work as well when I was going around something, but it turned out pretty good. Obviously it would be easier if I used something like masking fluid, but I'm very lazy and for some reason find putting on masking fluid and then having to take it off later really a lot of work, even though it's probably less work than doing it this way, but that's just how my brain thinks of it. So I'm really glad that that ended up working out. And then my depression has had me kind of apathetic lately, well, very apathetic, and I've had a hard time getting things done like this painting and also getting my books read. You'll see in a couple days I'll be putting out the books that I have been reading, but it hasn't been as much as I would have liked by this point in the Monsterathon. So I'm not sad anymore, just apathetic. And so the first part of doing this painting, I kind of had to force it. But once I sat down with a pen and started working on the writing that was on the pages of the paper tentacles. I actually really enjoyed that and felt creative and enjoyed the creative process and felt like I was making something I enjoyed. And so I'm really glad that I eventually got that feeling from this piece, because it was a long time coming. And I'm really quite proud of how those tentacles turned out, because I really wasn't sure at first. And I figured some things out along the way. The first ones I was doing, I wasn't sure where on the pages to put it and how to orient it exactly, but by the time I was working on probably the third tentacle, I had it figured out pretty good. And I was trying to make what looked like words from far away, but was not actual written out words, and also wasn't just squiggles, because I don't think those look very much like writing. So I did just kind of little separated, weird looking scribbles that I thought could also be interpreted as non-letters, as like other types of symbols or something. But when I look at it now from afar, it looks a lot like musical notes, but I guess that works. It could be a hymnal or another type of musical book that has decided to grow tentacles. That works. For both the writing and some of the final touches on the line work, I went back with my pens, which, as you may have noticed in a few of my pieces now, I am really enjoying. I love these pens. If you want to know what kind they are, I had them in a haul a little bit ago. They work really well. They go on nicely opaque. There's a huge range of colors. And so I was able to find one that matched really well the color that I wanted for the edges of the paper on the tentacles. It just worked out really nicely. So I'm super happy with these pens. And also I'm quite happy with the pigmentation of my watercolors that I'm using now. I was able to get the background pretty dark when I tried to, so I'm quite happy with that too. So this is my book monster. I'm thinking it is either a music book that has gone evil and decided it wants to eat people, or it is a magic book with magical language inscriptions in it, and it has always been wanting to eat people. Does it have a name? I kind of want to name it after the dragon from A Tale of Two Castles. So how about we'll call this book Masteress. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Bye!